Electronic waste are also buried in landfills or they are incinerated. People cannot live without plastic, right? Because plastic has become a part of a life. All the goods that you see around are made up of plastic itself. So that is the reason. They started developing industries related to chemical fertilizers, pesticides and all that, so that the crops can grow faster, providing good amounts of yield. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to today's session on chapter 16 of 2nd PUC, that is environmental issues. I am Dr. Divya, biology faculty, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Mysuru, Temple of Excellence. So in the previous session of this chapter, we had discussed about the water pollution and the causes and effects of water pollution and how to control water pollution. In today's session, let us discuss about solid waste, the management of solid waste, and also let us talk about the effects of agrochemical farming. So to begin with, let us start with learning about solid waste. So solid waste refers to everything that goes to the trash. So every day we use products right from plastics to papers to stapler pins to whatnot, different kinds of stationeries, right? So all that goes into the dustbin will be considered as solid waste itself. So under solid waste, we shall study about the municipal solid waste. So municipal solid waste is nothing but those waste which goes into the dustbin from our homes, offices, stores, schools, hospitals, etc. And these wastes are collected every day by the municipality people and then they are disposed by the municipality people after segregation and all that procedure. So the municipal solid waste generally comprise of paper, then the food waste, then comes the plastic, glass, metals, rubber, leather, textile, etc. So all these which are solid in texture, so all those come under the solid waste. So solid waste can be burnt and burning reduces the volume of the waste. But have you ever thought that burning can cause a lot of air pollution, right? So reducing one particular waste by burning it will lead to another problem. Of course, it will reduce the amount of waste in a particular region, right? But it can lead to another problem. So burning reduces the size of the waste or the amount of the waste, but it is generally not burned to completion. That is, completely it is not burnt and always it is put or dumped into open dumps, and therefore these open dumps will become breeding places for mosquitoes, for rats and even for flies as well. Therefore, if their population increases, it will lead to a lot of human diseases. So that is why we have to be very careful while segregating the solid waste, while burning them and by dumping them, because a lot of problems will arise. So a proper planning is needed here. So next, let's study about the control of municipal solid waste. So how exactly the municipal solid waste, be it the unburnt waste that is there or be it the actual solid waste that is dumped from offices, from schools, hospitals, houses, etc., how they can be controlled. So sanitary landfills were adopted as substitute for open burning dumps. So you might have seen in cities and all, there will be places wherein that place will be only meant for dumping the waste altogether. So every morning the municipality person comes to the house and collects the waste. That waste which has been collected from a particular locality will go to a dumping ground. That dumping ground is called as the sanitary landfills, where after segregation most of the wastes are left are burnt and some of them out of it will be left unburnt. So in a sanitary landfill, wastes are dumped in depression or in trenches after compaction and covered with dirt every day. So first segregation will be done, wherein those materials which are capable of going into recycling will be separated. Those which are of no use will be dumped, wherein large pits or trenches will be taken in the ground and the waste will be filled in and it will be burnt, and those which are left unburnt will be covered every day with the mud. So that is how, or dirt or mud. So that is how the waste is managed in the sanitary landfills. So landfills are also not much really of great use when it comes to controlling the solid waste, because the amount of garbage generation, especially in metro cities, has increased so much that these sites are getting filled too, because solid waste and all, they don't degrade very fast, and every day how much amount of solid waste is being produced, and every day it has to be dumped in the same region, and the population and the amount of waste that is generated in metro cities is so much that nowadays there is no place to fill no more place in the sanitary landfills to dump the garbage. So therefore, the sanitary landfill is a temporary solution. It is not at all a permanent solution to manage the solid waste. Also, in sanitary landfills, there is a problem wherein there is a danger of seepage of chemicals. So those which comes from hospitals, solid waste which come from hospitals and all that, or maybe we would have dumped from our houses itself, we would have dumped the detergent packets, the cleaning related chemicals that are there. So all that will leak into the soil and it may cause a lot of problem. Because of the runoff of water, it might enter into nearby water bodies as well. So all that is a problem, and also it might seep into the groundwater, therefore polluting the groundwater as well. So also there is a danger of seepage of chemicals from these landfills polluting the underground water resources. So this is one, that is why sanitary landfills is always not a best option. It is just a temporary solution here in order to control the municipality waste or the solid waste. So what is the ultimate solution to control the solid waste? What can be done? As I told you, each and every individual in a house can himself contribute to controlling the solid waste. How is that possible? By segregating the waste before giving it to the municipality people. So what we do is, we don't segregate it, right? We dump everything in one particular, be it the wet waste, the dry waste, the biodegradable ones, the non-biodegradable ones, the recyclable, non-recyclable ones, all those we just dump it in one bin and we give it. They might segregate to some extent, but even they are also human beings, right? How far can they sit and segregate those waste? And imagine how much waste get collected in a day, and it is very difficult to segregate them. So it is the duty of every individual, before giving the waste to the municipality person, it is better in the home itself we keep separate dustbins so that we can segregate the waste and give them. So half of the problem will get solved here. So all waste that we generate can be categorized into three types, that is biodegradable waste, recyclable waste and non-biodegradable waste. And therefore, it is important that based on these three categories, we can segregate the waste. And nowadays, even electronic waste are said to be segregated separately. Separately, they'll come to collect the electronic waste. We should not throw the batteries or any electronic related waste into the dustbin along with the other categories of the waste here. What can be reused or recycled? It should be separated out, and therefore the kabadiwalas or the rag pickers that are there, when they visit the house, we can give it to them. From that, we will earn a little bit of money as well. And not just that, we are also contributing something to the environment, wherein the rag picker will just give it to a particular person, and that particular person will recycle that waste and use it for various material making. Nowadays, we have bags, purses and all that, which contain recycled plastics or waste materials. So like that, to make all that, it can be used. So that is how you can, recyclable ones you can segregate. Biodegradable ones also you can segregate, especially the vegetable waste and all that is there. If we segregate it, and if no need of giving the biodegradable waste to the municipality person, we ourselves in a house, we can convert it into compost so that we can use it for growing plants and all that instead of using chemical fertilizers. So like that they can be segregated. So the biodegradable materials can be put in deep pits in the ground and be left for natural breakdown. So when they undergo biodegradation or when they undergo decomposition, the decomposed material along with the soil can be used as a fertilizer and a manure. So that is what we can do with the biodegradable waste. So now what is left? The non-biodegradable waste. So it is easy for the municipality people to decide what to do with the non-biodegradable waste. So what can be done with the non-biodegradable waste? So solution for recyclable and biodegradable we ourselves found out. One is the biodegradable materials, we can use it in a home itself to prepare compost and all that, so that we can use it as a fertilizer. Next, the recyclable, we can give it to the rag picker so that they will give it to a particular person who will recycle it, and then it can be used in the manufacturing of something else. So that problem is also solved. Now the only one is remaining is the problem with the non-biodegradable materials. What can be done with the non-biodegradable materials? So here also each citizen of a country, every individual can carry his own responsibility in minimizing the non-biodegradable materials. Say for example, plastic. Whenever we go shopping, why can't we carry our own cloth bag, right? So that cloth bags can be used until it wears off. But plastic, it is only one time use. And also there are some plastics which cannot be recycled, which if you put it on the soil, it will take thousands together of years to decompose, leading to a lot of problems. So therefore, carrying cloth or other natural fiber carry bags when we go shopping, and by refusing polythene bags. So if any shopkeeper, he is willing to give you any material in a polythene bag or in a plastic bag, tell him not to do so. And also we know that it is against the law now because strict rules and regulations have come up. And one more thing is non-biodegradable waste in hospitals. For that, incinerators can be used to dispose hospital waste. So you might have seen in hospitals wherein they used syringes and all. Nowadays they have a box like thing wherein into that only they'll just put the syringes, wherein it will burn off and get converted into ash. So like that, incinerators can be used in hospitals so that we'll not have to give the non-biodegradable waste to the municipal person and therefore create a problem there. So this is how we ourselves, by taking some simple steps, we can control the use of non-biodegradable materials or control the giving of non-biodegradable materials as a waste to the municipality people so that the problem can be solved here. So this is one of the solution for non-biodegradable waste. Under non-biodegradable waste, electronic waste also come under non-biodegradable waste. So what can be done with the electronic waste and what is electronic waste? We shall look into. So irreparable computers and other electronic goods are known as electronic waste. It's not just irreparable goods, we also can contribute in lessening the electronic waste. Every year a new model of mobile comes into the market, we feel like buying it, right? Why is the necessity? Isn't our old mobile working properly? It's enough, right? Let me use it until it wears off. So that is the contribution that we can do towards the environment, therefore minimizing the electronic waste. So here, electronic waste are also buried in landfills or they are incinerated. So here also again a problem. Again you dump the electronic waste also into the dustbin in your houses, office and everything, and then when a municipality person comes to collect it, that will go to the municipality van, and therefore there also they'll take it and put it in a sanitary landfill, again creating a lot of problem. Will they degrade? No, they will not, right? So that is when what we can do is separately you can keep a dustbin wherein you can put the electronic waste and give it separately. So that is what we can do. So over half of the e-waste generated in the developed world are exported to developing countries, mainly to China, India and Pakistan. You might have watched, there are numerous movies related to this, wherein the unwanted waste materials which are not of use in many other developed countries are sent to the developing countries. This is actually true, where metals where from those repaired materials, be it there is a lot of electronic waste and all that in one particular developed country, what they will do is they'll send it to the developing countries. So in the developing countries, what they do is, from those electronic waste, they will separate the metals like copper, iron, silicon, nickel and gold by recycling process, and it is used in the manufacturing of various other electronic materials. Why? Because it is available cheap and no need of paying also for them, because in their country they don't want it and they don't have place to dump it. That is why they'll send it to a developing country, wherein they recycle that particular materials by removing the metals out of it and use it for again making some other electronic good. So that is how it is done. Unlike developed countries which have specifically built facilities for recycling of e-waste, recycling in developing countries often involves manual participation. So in developed countries, they will have very good machinery and all that to recycle the electronic waste. But in developing countries, the recycling process of electronic waste is always manual. That is, people only involved in the process of recycling. So during the process of recycling, what happens? There is chances of exposing the workers to toxic substances present in the e-waste, therefore causing a lot of respiratory issues and skin disorder issues and also a lot of other health issues as well. So recycling is the only solution for the treatment of electronic waste, provided it is carried out in an environmentally friendly manner. You have to be very careful when recycling the electronic waste, because try putting an electronic waste to fire, it will generate a lot of fumes, and these fumes, where will it enter? It will enter into the atmosphere, therefore causing air pollution. Not just that, if it is inhaled by us, it will cause a lot of respiratory issues as well. So therefore, during the process of recycling, one has to be very careful and one has to maintain a very good strategy or plan. Scientific planning must be done in order to recycle the material without causing any harm to the environment, because electronic waste, there is no option to discard the electronic waste because it cannot be used for anything. So only recycling is the only option that is left to minimize the electronic waste. Or like I said, use a particular electronic material until it completely dies off. Otherwise, don't simply buy unnecessary electronic materials. So that is how we can minimize the electronic waste. So here there is a case study that is given, a case study of remedy for plastic waste. So what can be done? Plastic waste, if it is burnt, it will lead to air pollution. Plastic waste, if it is put into or if it is thrown or dumped into the soil, it will take thousands of years to degrade. And plastic waste, if recycled, again the next time it cannot be recycled again. So that is, many problems are there with the plastic waste, and people cannot live without plastic, right? Because plastic has become a part of a life. All the goods that you see around are made up of plastic itself. So that is the reason. So there is a case study wherein a person, he was a plastic dealer. His name was Ahmad Khan. So he actually came up with the idea as to how to control the plastic waste. So what he did, we should look into. So, a plastic sack manufacturer in Bangalore managed to find an ideal solution to the ever-increasing problem of accumulating plastic waste. So, Ahmad Khan was a plastic sack manufacturer in Bangalore. So, this is Ahmad Khan. Actually, he was the first person to find out, very innovative of him to manage the plastic waste. So, Ahmad Khan, his age was 57 years old and has been producing plastic sacks for about 20 years. And since 8 years ago, he realized that plastic waste was a real problem in the environment. So that was the time when he thought, what can be done to control the plastic waste, because of course he can't stop manufacturing plastic because that is his livelihood. Plastic needs to be manufactured, but the plastics which are going out as a waste from houses, offices and all that, what can be done? To certain extent it can be recycled. After that, what can be done with it? That is what he thought. So he himself, being a plastic manufacturer, he came into an idea wherein he found out that he prepared a mixture called as polyblend. So what is this polyblend? A polyblend is a fine powder of recycled modified plastic. That is what he made, and this mixture he mixed it with bitumen. So bitumen is actually used in the making of tar, that is to lay roads and all that. To make roads, tar is used, right? So to make tar, this bitumen is used. So this person, what he did, his company, that is the company which was manufacturing plastic sack, in that company, Ahmad Khan, he came up with an idea of making a material called as polyblend. So what was that polyblend? It was nothing but a fine powder of recycled modified plastic. And along with that, he mixed this powder with one more material called as bitumen that is used in making tar. And in collaboration with RV College of Engineering and the Bangalore City Corporation, Ahmad Khan, he proved that the combination or the blending of polyblend and bitumen, when used to lay the roads or when used in making of roads, it enhanced the water repellent property of bitumen. You might have seen wherever there are trees on both sides of the roads, there usually the road gets spoilt very fast. Why? Because the water that drips from the tree will continuously fall on the road, therefore spoiling the roads, right? But what if we prepare a road that is water repellent? And which material is water repellent? Plastic, right? So that is what Ahmad Khan thought of. He thought of that he mixed polyblend, that is recycled plastic powder. He mixed it with bitumen and he took the help of RV College of Engineering and the Bangalore City Corporation, and he decided to make roads out of this mixture, that is polyblend and bitumen mixture. Now, because that the mixture contained plastic in it, the road became resistant to water. It became water repellent. Therefore, the lifespan of the road also increased. And therefore, it helped to increase the road life by a factor of 3. So, say for example, 1 year you put the road, it will come for another 3 to 4 years. So, that is how he made it water repellent. So, such a common man who was just a plastic sack manufacturer, how at the age of 57, he got an idea to make use of plastics to such a great extent, right? So, this was the contribution of Ahmad Khan of Bangalore. So, here the raw material for creating polyblend is any plastic film waste. So, any plastic waste can be used for making polyblend. And so, against the price of 0.40 per kg that rat pickers had been getting for plastic waste, Khan now offers ₹6. Again here, he tried to create or improve the economy of the rag pickers as well. Usually, these plastic recycling people or the plastic manufacturing people, they used to collect plastic, the waste plastic that we separated in the houses, right? Which we used to give it to the rag picker, that was collected from the rag picker, and for per kg of plastic, the rag picker would get just ₹0.40. That is 40 paisa he used to get, right? But later on, Khan, what he did was, he decided to buy plastic from the rag pickers for ₹6 per kg. Now, using Khan's technique, by the year 2002, more than 40 kilometers of road in Bangalore has already been laid. And at this rate, Khan will soon be running short of plastic. That is the problem now, because 40 kilometers of road in Bangalore has been laid, but still we need plastic. Can we manufacture plastic to make road? No, that is not a good idea, because the idea is to, whatever plastics have been manufactured or whatever plastics is a waste, that needs to be used here. So that is why he was falling short of plastic very, very soon in order to produce the polyblend mixture. So thanks to innovations like polyblend, we might still avoid being smothered by plastic waste. So imagine if every city adopts this idea of making plastic roads, then there will not at all be plastic waste in the country. So even people can use plastic freely. Because why? Because those plastics which we are giving out as waste, that can be used in making roads which are long lasting when compared to the other roads that are laid over. So this is the contribution of Ahmad Khan towards controlling plastic. So this was a case study regarding the remedy to control the plastic waste. So next let's study about agrochemicals and their effects. So agrochemicals means those chemical fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides that are used for agricultural purposes in order to improve the quality of the crop. So in the wake of Green Revolution, the use of inorganic fertilizers and pesticides has increased manifold for enhancing crop production. We have learnt about Green Revolution, right? What is this Green Revolution? Soon after India got independence, what happened was the population of the country was so high and the agricultural land that was there and the amount of crop that was produced or the yield that was got was very, very less. And it was not enough to satisfy the hunger of the people. So that is when the government introduced the Green Revolution, wherein they tried to improve the quality of the crop, they tried to improve the yield of the crop so that so much amount of grains can be produced and it can be distributed to the people in order to solve their hunger and therefore meet their demands for food. So at that time, what they did was they started developing industries related to chemical fertilizers, pesticides and all that, so that the crops can grow faster, providing good amounts of yield. But pesticides, herbicides, fungicides have been increasingly used since then. And these incidentally, they are actually very, very toxic to non-target organisms as well. You add a particular pesticide or insecticide in order to control, say for example, cotton. Cotton is infected with the bollworm. So to control bollworm, you spray a pesticide. Of course, that pesticide will kill the bollworm. But along with that, won't the pesticide enter into the soil? In the soil, there will be some other beneficial microorganisms. Will it not harm those beneficial microorganisms? If the beneficial microorganisms get harmed, the pH of the soil will get altered. If the pH of the soil gets altered, then the plant again will not grow properly. So that is how it can cause a lot of problems. So therefore, we have to minimize the use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides and insecticides and opt for organic farming. So let's take the example of a case study of organic farming. So integrated organic farming is a cyclical zero waste procedure where waste products from one process are cycled in as nutrient for the other process. So here zero waste is there. Why? Because organic farming means we don't use chemicals here, we just use natural manure, and these manures can be in turn used by the soil microorganisms as well for their growth and development. Therefore, indirectly these microorganisms will help the plants to properly take up the organic nutrients and grow properly. So that is how zero waste is there in organic farming. So this allows the maximum utilization of the resources and increases the efficiency of the yield or production of the crop as well. So here in case studies, like how we took the example of Ahmad Khan, who contributed to plastic waste management, just like that person, there is a farmer who contributed towards organic farming. His name is Ramesh Chandra Dagar. So Ramesh Chandra Dagar, he was the farmer in Haryana, that is Sonipat village of Haryana. He is contributing a lot towards organic farming, wherein he himself is following organic farming in his plot. And not just that, he is also encouraging other villagers to also do so. So in his farm, he actually includes beekeeping, dairy management, water harvesting, composting and agriculture in a chain of process which support each other, and therefore it allows an extremely economical and sustainable venture. Now he goes in for beekeeping. So beekeeping, when he does, the bees will automatically pollinate his crops. So that is one use. Honey also he will get, and therefore pollination will also occur at the same time. Next, dairy management. When he does dairy management, milk also he will get. Along with that, the cow dung that is there from the cow, that can be used as a natural fertilizer. So that is what he can do. Therefore, he can go in for composting and all that. Then water harvesting. By water harvesting, he can save water, and that water itself he can use it for irrigation of his agricultural lands. So that is how he went in for a cultural method of organic farming, wherein incorporated all these. Therefore, he didn't have to depend on the outside. That is, he didn't have to depend on the other fertilizers or water, wherein he'll have to pay money and get all those. So all that had stopped, therefore improving his economy as well. So there is no need to use chemical fertilizers for crops, as cattle excreta are used as manure. So that is what he did with dairy farming. And crop waste, whatever crop waste is there along with the cattle manure, he created compost out of it. And that compost he used it as natural fertilizer. And also that compost itself, he used it to prepare the natural gas. That is gobar gas. So he prepared gobar gas out of that. So gobar gas he connected to his household, wherein he could use it for cooking. Therefore, there was no need for LPG cylinders. So that is how whatever he produced in his farmland, he used it for himself. Therefore, he didn't have to depend on anything else wherein he'll have to pay money for it. So enthusiastic or quite interested about spreading information and help of the practice of integrated organic farming, this particular farmer of Sonapat village, that is Dagar, he created a club wherein he made a group of farmers, and he created a club which is called as the Haryana Kisan Welfare Club. And at present, there is about 5,000 farmers in his club, and all these 5,000 farmers have adopted the organic farming method, and they have economically improved as well. So this is the contribution of Ramesh Chandra Dagar, who was a simple farmer in a Haryana village. So this is how two simple people, they contributed themselves towards reducing pollution of the environment. So one contributed towards the management of plastic waste, and the other contributed towards the use of organic farming instead of depending on chemical fertilizers, pesticides, etc. So this was about this particular session. In the coming session, let us study about the radioactive waste. So what are radioactive waste? How can it be disposed? All that, and what are the hazards of radioactive waste? All that we shall study. And also we shall study about the greenhouse effect, wherein we'll study about various greenhouse gases which are contributing to the ozone depletion and therefore creating a lot of problem to the environment. So we shall meet again in the coming session with these two topics. Thank you.